Hi, and welcome back to the video series on how to integrate Dynamics 365 Business Central with Dynamics 365 Sales. This is Craig Crescas. I am a partner technology architect in the United States on the One Commercial Partner organization. And if you joined us, joined me in the prior video where I showed you how to set up, get my pen going here, how to create trial accounts. So you should have already an environment that's running sales and Business Central. In this video, I'll focus on what you'll do and how to demonstrate the applications to a prospective customer. And then in the third series, on the third part, I'll spend time on we'll dive deeper into the configure integration steps and then anything you might need as support moving forward. And so let me show you how we'll configure or how you would demonstrate this to your clients. Again, think of this demo that you're going to share as I'll share a few highlights of the integration before I get into the demos, and I'll set up the scenario, but then remember in the third installment, we'll go deeper into the integration. I want to just review some of the basic integration, the sync rules, and also demo data. Again, I'll have more details surrounding the integration in that next video. First, there is a comprehensive documentation available to help you understand the integration. I've got this on the screen here in front of you on docs.microsoft.com. You can also do a search for sales and Business Central integration to find this article, but it's a great starting point. The other thing you're going to want to understand is just some of the entity mapping. In other words, you can see on the column on the left some of the entities that is often referred to in Business Central, and then in the column to the right of it are the entities that are used by the sales application. So what we might know in the accounting and finance or ERP scenario of unit of measure, our sales application and our salespeople call that unit group. Or in Business Central, again, we refer to it as item, and in sales, we refer to that as product. So what you see here again is just some of the standard sales entity mapping that comes pre-configured. When you run the integration, you have absolutely the flexibility to configure and determine how you want that to run moving forward. But I just wanted to call this out before we get into the demos. So you've got the standard sales entity mapping, and then there are the rules that you need to take into consideration when we couple those records, right? Those entities that I just mentioned. So the table on the screen provides you just some of the details surrounding the rules that control the synchronization between sales and Business Central. Now, this is in addition to the rules that'll be defined for Dataverse, which will also apply. And again, I'll cover this in that next video once we talk about the integration and how to set it up. Once you have your environment set up, I want you to recognize that both applications have their own demo data, and you can use that, not a problem. And I just want to review that, but I'll also show you tips maybe to optimize that environment. So here I am, I'm in Business Central, and when I click on the customers, you can see here I've got Adatum School of Fine Art, ReliCloud, Trade Research, and Alpine Ski House. You see the associated balances to the right of those customers in the cards. Now, if I were to Alt-Tab and just kind of toggle to sales, when I select on accounts, right, we call them customers in Business Central, we call them accounts in sales. Here you see a similar sample of accounts, but they are different, right? So we have Adatum, AdventureWorks, Alpine Ski, Blue Yonder as an example. And so I want to use the account in Business Central to reflect an environment that has both data matched. Again, this is a preference to you as a presenter, as a pre-sales engineer. Uh, you don't have to perform this, but what I've done in my environment is I'll go to advanced settings in sales. And once that opens up your new window over in the settings and under system, there's an area called data management. And on the right side, midway down the page, you can go into sample data and remove sample data. What that does eventually is it removes the sample data that comes with sales. So here now you can see in my accounts, I have no accounts. And then if I were to click here on the bottom under quotes, I don't have any active quotes as well. Again, if you're for Business Central partners, if you're not familiar with sales, you can find quote orders here in the bottom left under the section called collateral. And again, just to preface, that is optional depending on how you want your demo data to appear. So let's focus now on the demo and how I would present it to a customer. And I'll start with the role of the sales representative. And as the sales rep, that's where this process begins, right? You can see the first two steps, and then the last three will be in Business Central. So I'll begin by creating a sales quote in Dynamics 365 Sales. I'll go back and forth in negotiation with the customer. Once we agree to terms, I win the deal, and then we'll let the Business Central, the finance manager, take ownership of the process and finalize that for our business. So first, as I said, let's create the sales quote in Dynamics 365 Sales. So I'm logged into Sales, and you can see here I'm on the top right corner. This is Karen Berg. She's our sales representative. I'm under Accounts, and you can see I've got Alpine Ski House in my Sales Hub. So right from this screen, we can see the integration and the sharing of data from Business Central. Notice on the right side in this panel, I've got my primary contact, but I also have statistical as well as key information that's coming across in this fact box with, again, the key is that sales and accounting are working together. So me as a sales rep or as Karen, I can see the outstanding orders and any other information that I need to perform my job as a salesperson. So the nice thing is I don't have to go to another application. We can share that between the two teams. Let me scroll back up and I'll go and start to add a new quote. So in the quick form, I go ahead and I create a quote. And here you'll see the fields that are required. I'll enter in the name. So in this case, my name of the quote, I named the quote February 14th for Alpine Ski House. Karen Berg, myself as the owner. And the key to this is going to be the price list. Now, when I select Business Central as my default price list, what that does is it points directly to my inventory in Business Central. And then I have my potential customer, Alpine Ski House. I'll select Save and Close. And then I'll get a little pop-up box here that allows me to view the record. Now, here is the quote. You can see it says February 14th, quote for Alpine Ski House. And this essentially, for any partner who might be a Business Central or ERP partner for us, this is really the header. Next, what I need to do is I need to add line items. And so that means I need to add products to my quote. So when I select the add products, it opens up the window where I'll now add my line items. I can choose either existing or I can do write-in products. Business Central and Sales both integrate, so I can do a write-in. I'll select the product from my inventory. So again, because I'm looking at Business Central as my price list, I get those items to appear. Now the customer has said they wanted 3 of those lamps, And here you see I've got the quote assigned. Save and close. And now you can see the lamp was added to the quote and the price was calculated from the Business Central price list. Quotes are always created in draft mode so that you can continue to adjust the quote as needed, but once you're ready to send it, I'll need to activate that quote. So the activation sets the quote to read-only mode. There are no changes that can be made to it for now, as it will be an official price quote given to our customer. With the integration set up, the quote will be synchronized across to Business Central, so you can see what that looks like. So switching roles for just a moment, if I were to log into Business Central, select my customers, and remember we did that quote for Alpine Ski House, similar to what we saw in the Sales app in Business Central, I have a little mini fact box that is embedded on the customer pages so that I can see opportunities, quotes, and cases. Again, we're just working together as a team. When I click on the quotes, you'll see here I get a list of all the quotes that are being entered into our sales application. Now they're not coupled yet, which is key. So this isn't anything that's being recorded in Business Central. It's just being stored in the sales quotes, Microsoft Dynamics 365 sales in Business Central. Well, I click on Business Sales and then under the submenu quote, assuming I have login credentials, I could come back into the quote here in Sales. Let's work on making that quote an order. So here we are back in Sales. The customer has agreed to terms. We're ready to move forward with the order. So I'll select on Create the Order. The status is 1. You could add a much richer description if need be. I'm just going to say it's been 1. I select OK. And now that order, that quote has been created as an order. And then I can also open this up, and now you can see here on my timeline, Karen Berg has closed that order. And then you see the quote number, important because that'll bring that over into Business Central. Sales is done. Sales has performed their job. They're off to nurture and close other opportunities. Now it's time for accounting to take on the next steps. In Business Central, I have as I mentioned to you, kind of a holding area for my quotes in Dynamics 365. And again, I call these maybe just buckets. And remember earlier I said these are not coupled. There is a setting which you can configure so that that could be manually created so that when the salesperson creates the quotes or when they create orders, they're automatically synchronized and coupled. Again, I have this set up as manual, and again, we'll explain more in the next series or in the next video. As the finance manager, I want to kind of filter to the items that have just been won but not coupled. Here you see that last quote, Alpine Ski House. I can come into process, and now I'll process that in Business Central. And again, this can easily be automated for efficiencies, or in the scenario here where we want accounting to further review before we start posting documents. When you open up the quote, you'll notice that the header and the line items is very clear. However, if you wanted to see additional details, you can open up the Show More. I do this just to make sure you as a partner sees what we're doing with the reference field. So we're bringing over the quote. This is what I brought to your attention earlier. And then also the external document number is what we call the quote in Sales. We'll close that window. And now that you can see it's been coupled, we are ready to begin further converting that order to an invoice. So here I am in the quote SQU 1005. Under the Process tab, I can select Make an Order. By doing so, I select Yes. Now that's been created as an official order, sales order. and then I can post this. And then this just becomes really the rules that an organization may have, where they may want to ship first, then invoice. For me in demos, I just simply do both at the same time. So we're going to ship and invoice that customer. And now this becomes an official document, the PS representing a posted sales invoice ending in 215. I'll select yes. And again, from here, because it's a team sport and I want to make sure that sales knows exactly what's happening with their orders, this could be automatically configured. However, again, I have this set up manually so that I can demonstrate to you as a partner. Here, where under Related tab, I want to go ahead and create that invoice in Dynamics 365 Sales. We can switch to the Sales app, and then as I mentioned to you at the bottom, we have invoices. Here, when I've got it filtered or sorted on the most recent, here you can see that posted sales invoice on display. And then you'll notice in the status column, it says billed. If you drill into that further, again, you can see it here in the top. What this means is we've billed the customer, but they have not paid yet for their goods. Once they do pay, we will apply payment from the customer in Business Central. So here I'll go ahead and open up my cash journals. And in this batch, I'll go ahead and I've automatically put in the account number in the description. The customer sent us the $176, and I want to go ahead and apply that to this posted sales invoice 215. And then I go ahead and post that to the journal. Once I do that, I return back to sales. Notice under all invoices, this 215, the status reason is now configured to be complete. So again, this will kind of show you the integration and the demonstration where we started with sales and we finished with Business Central, and you can see how we shared the documents between those two applications. That'll conclude this session on how to demonstrate the two applications working together. Please join us in that third and last video on how to configure and set up the integration for your demonstration environments.